my friends? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day. Whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or even the latest buzz, look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Look, my friends, on today's conversation, it's post election night. All right. It is everything post election. If you haven't heard the news, you all, and I say you all, we all as Americans, we have a new elected president, and that individual's name is Donald J. Trump. That's right. Former president, former 45th, excuse me, he was the 45th president, and now he's elected as the 47th president. Donald Trump has won in the electoral college. He has succeeded, uh I believe the popular vote as well. He came out victorious. And a lot of, so for the Trump supporters out there, this is how y'all feeling right now. For the Harris supporters, this is how y'all feeling. Come down, come down, come down. Uh Look, I've been very critical of former President Donald Trump. I'm not a fan. Did I vote for him? Absolutely not. I didn't. I'm not a fan. I'm very honest about that. Uh, but he won fair. He won fair and square. Uh, my frustration is not more on the outcome. I'm disappointed, but my frustration is not on the outcome. My frustration is with the Democratic Party. It is. It's with the Democratic Party. Because here's the thing. President Joe Biden, you, sir, and I've mentioned it many a times here on this program, you were the almighty replacement. You were there to help get Trump out. You were going to be a one term, one and done, and then move it on, help endorse the next candidate, get them, start planning who's going to be the next face for the Democratic Party and can help lead the country. Instead, you kind of you were teeter-tottering. You were back and forth with the decision. You were pursuing to run for re-election. Something that you told us, if I don't recall, you told us you were going to be a one-term president, a transitional president, right? You decided to run for re-election. You decided to move it so far. Literally, it was moments before the Democratic National Convention. And then you make the announcement after bombing on a debate stage against Donald Trump. You said, I'm going to drop out the race, not leaving the Democrats enough time to really even decide on a candidate. So you endorse Kamala Harris, who, don't get me wrong, very qualified for the position. But I can't not disagree with folks that says I wish there was a actual primary. I wish there was a legit primary, Democratic primary, so that you can actually make the choice on a Democratic candidate, having debate process like the whole 9 yards, similar to what the Republican Party did, which really didn't make any difference because Trump did not participate in any of the debates because he's not a good debater. But you know what? He held that momentum because ever since he left office, he still kept that momentum going. He still kept speaking and, having his rallies, holding on to that core base. I think it was a disservice for the voters because you did kind of leave them in like, okay, I guess we're stuck with Kamala Harris. And again, I'm not going and disrespecting her. She's very qualified. I was a fan of her, and I thought she would have been a greght president. I thought it was, be a great time to have a female president is about time. It's already happening in other countries, so why not here? Um, but you literally left you left her there to fail, in my opinion. You you were back and forth with this decision. A lot of people were frustrated, and people were not happy in regards to the current administration, economy wise, and on border security. So you're leaving her with all those tasks. She has to answer for you. She has to, she has to be the spokesperson as well as run her own campaign. Hurry up and find a running mate and do this in a matter of like what 3 to 4 months. It was hard, and she's a woman, and she's a woman of color. It was not going to be an easy race for her. You see the results I put up on there. On the electoral votes, President Trump received it's actually over now, over 277 votes, and then to Kamala Harris 224 electoral votes. Guys, later on, we're going to be doing like a short series of post presidential breakdown shows. I'm going to have my good friend Dr. Eric Lavelle, political and legal analyst, host of the award-winning Clavell Report. He's going to be on the program, not today, but hopefully in the next coming shows. And also, I'm going to be speaking with some of the victorious local candidates here in my hometown of the Hampton Roads, Virginia area. I'll have them on as well. Yeah, my frustration with the Democratic Party, and I honestly wondering how is the Democratic Party gonna move on from here, because I think it's slowly but surely. I think it's gonna be. I truly think that it's both party systems really are failing, because look, the Republican Party is not the Republican Party that everybody is familiar with. It is the MAGA party, Make America Great Again. It is the MAGA movement. That's the new Republican Party. A lot of traditional Republicans have become independents. Some even became Democrats because they're tired of what the party stands for now. Likewise, the Democratic Party. A lot of Democrats are frustrated and they're moving, to the independent party. I mean, it's just the two party system just doesn't work in general. That's why I'm proud to be an independent, because spoke many a times how this party, the two party system, is not working at all. When you look at this, you put them neck and neck, right? You put them neck and neck. Kamala Harris has worked in been an elected official from local all the way to federal. State prosecutor, district attorney, U.S. senator, and then vice president. You have Donald Trump, inherited a fortune, an awful businessman. he's had a lot of bankruptcies. Let's be honest. He has. Reality star, convicted felon, right? Impeached twice. I think he has like a couple of ongoing cases. He was uh uh convicted in a civil suit of sexual assault against Jean Carroll. Um, President now, and now he's gonna be. This is the second time becoming president of the United States. So Democratic Party, man, the strategy sucked. What was how was the messaging going? Because here's the thing. What I noticed was what I've noticed what I've noticed is that um you were speaking a lot on why your opponent is bad for the country, which I get it. I get it. But don't let that be your bread and butter conversation. Speak on your accomplishments. Speak on your accomplishments. Speak on your accomplishments. I know women's reproductive rights was a huge issue on the ballot box, but obviously it wasn't, because I'll read a little later on in the show just the statistics of you know uh race and women and male uh percentage votes from each candidate. I'll speak about that later on in the program. But the economy was a big part, y'all. The economy was a big part. The you know foreign policy, it was a big part. It was something that was kind of like Kamala Harris kryptonite. Um, there was so much that I think that could have been met. You raise the most money, utilize that. Don't put all your ads in linear television. Go to the streaming platforms. Go to podcasters. One thing I'll give credit to the Republican Party and the Trump campaign. Trump was speaking on prominent podcast programs that has millions and millions of views. Now, don't get me wrong, the podcast shows that he was on was definitely right leaning in his favor, and probably would have been difficult for the Harris campaign to gain some new votes. But look, there were still a lot of people that were right leaning that were not Trump supporters. Um, the last interview that Donald Trump had was on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. A podcast that averages like 14.5 million listeners a day. In the first 24 hours of that interview, a 3-hour interview, by the way, uh, it was like 21, 22 million views in the first 24 hours. Kamala Harris went on to do about an hour and some change on Club Shay Shay, which is, I guess you can consider the black Joe Rogan podcast as far as status wise. It's hosted by NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp. Um, I don't think that interview up there helped her. I really don't. Yes, it's a popular podcast, but I don't think it helped at all. Here's the podcast that you should have considered. You should have considered Native Land Podcast. You should have considered more. Well, they did a conversation with Charlemagne the God, which was dope. I wish it was a little longer. But you really need to should have went on TYT. The Young Turks should have went on when it comes to streaming platforms and podcast programs, there's not I feel like conservative podcasters are winning big in that aspect as far as like ratings and numbers. I could be wrong. Because I tune into I tune in a little bit of everything. I know she sat down with Roland Martin of Roland Martin Unfiltered, who has a huge following as well. Um, I wish the Democratic Party could have listened to more of Roland Martin, because the man knows the stuff. Um, it's just it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I hope and pray that we can that the division is not going to go anywhere. I feel like it's going to get worse. I'm sorry. I hope though that President Trump can humble himself. I have a lot of hope. I've hoped many times, and I feel as though he's still going to be the arrogant, cocky SOB that he's always been. Um, but hey, he's won fair and square. He's our president now. We need to get over it. Okay. I mean, look, we had 4 years with him. I'm a person. Whoever wins, we'll see it from there. But I know a lot of people are really, really, really distraught, depressed. Even a lot of people are excited, jumping for joy. I just don't like the personal attacks that the Trump campaign, especially Donald Trump, that comes out of his mouth. I don't like it's the childlike bullying. I don't. You're a grown ass man. Like, grow up. Like, I don't like the way he presents himself, the way he speaks down on women. I don't like it. I didn't like the Madison Square Garden rally. I thought that was very, very I'm sorry, it was very clan like. It just it you had it was a very I did not like the atmosphere. It was insult after insult after insult. You had uh 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 Hulk Hogan still ripping his shirt off at 100 years old. doing a little dance. You had a comedian describe Puerto Rico as a floating pile of garbage. I mean, you just it was a lot. It was a lot. This man has still never apologized to the exonerated five. Okay, I'm just saying, like, why is it so hard to be like apologetic, Mr. President? Like, what? Why can't you ever just grow up and really think about how you can affect people? And let's be honest, in my opinion, when Trump first went into office, people came out the woodwork thinking they can say whatever they want. People who are openly racist can just say what they do. I mean, because look, a lot of them support Trump. So a lot of white supremacists back Trump and support him. That's their say. They think, oh, now we think, oh, thank you, finally we got somebody. Like, it's very unfortunate, very unfortunate. But again, let me bring this stack down. I'm gonna play a couple of sound bites, y'all, after this commercial. But again, I just want to follow you up with President Donald J. Trump has been elected 47th president of the United States, beating Kamala Harris, a person that a lot of people assume that had it in the bag. And she fell very short. She had a victory watch party. Oh, excuse me, not a victory. She had a watch party at Howard University, and because of the numbers, uh she did not speak that evening of. So a lot of people were disheartened. A lot of, it was a lot of boohoo crying. It wasn't looking good, my friends. Wasn't looking good. Look, for those who are just now tuning in, you are listening to the Arington Gavin show. Look, you can tune into the program weeknights wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on the streaming platforms of YouTube and Rumble. Our YouTube channel is R Smooth Club Media, the letter R, Smooth Club Media. You can also listen to us on our radio affiliate, WDJY 99.1 FM, Straight Talk. So multiple ways you can tune to the platform. Oh, please subscribe to us. I mean, not subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at the Arington Gavin Show, as well as on X, formerly known as Twitter. And yeah, we're gonna get it going. We're gonna impact more of the election within this program. Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere, my friends. You are listening to the Arington Gavin Show.
Just like a winning team evolves throughout the season, so does your beard. I'm Arington Gavin, proud CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. With our premium oils, balms, and grooming tools, it's everything you need to level up your beard game. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a rookie, Rugged Evolution is the new smooth. Order now and dominate the beard game like never before. Rugged Evolution Beard Care, because every beard deserves.
What is happening, my friends? What is happening? Look, as I mentioned before, look, this is post-election edition. Post-election, all things post-election. I want to break down with you all. Let's see here what I'm gonna go. Let me go ahead and play the soundbite from former Republican governor of New Jersey, Chris Christie, shares his take on what went wrong for the Democratic Party. Give me 1 second. Let me pull up that soundbite for you all.
Joe Biden made a promise to the American people when I was sitting in this seat 4 years ago. He said, I am a transitional figure. The implication of that, David, was that he was going to serve one term because of his age and he was going to move on. And when he broke that promise, he did two things. One, he broke faith with the people who voted for him. And two, he put his party in an awful position to where they had to replace him when he put on one of the worst debate performances in presidential history, if not the worst. And so Kamala Harris had to inherit all of that. Like it or not, that's what she had to inherit, and she had to overcome it. And it appears, at least tonight, that she's not going to be able to do that. So every candidate deserves some measure of blame anytime there's a loss. But I would say this, that Joe Biden should be looking in the mirror tonight and thinking about what did he do? What did his lack of keeping his word on that central promise from 2020 do to this election tonight? Joe Biden made a promise to the American people when I was sitting in this seat 4 years ago. He said, I am a transitional figure.
So I can't agree more with the governor. That is very true. I remember hearing it. He remember hearing it. We all remember hearing it because we all knew when he was elected, he was an old guy. We knew he wasn't going to be in there for long. We just wanted to get Trump out of the White House. I was a part of that group. I didn't want to see Trump again in the White House. So okay, move aside, bring him on in. I wasn't really a fan really of Biden when he had ran for president, but I understood that he had a lot of his political stock value was much higher than the other following candidates. But he wasn't my choice. I just want to first by putting that out there. He wasted a lot of time because they could have did a lot of planning on picking the right candidate. And not saying, I'll take that back, not saying Kamala wasn't the right candidate, but it's just the process was it was rushed. It was a rushed process throughout the whole entire time. It's unfortunate. It's it's unfortunate, my friends, but got to do better when it comes to these races. Having the knowledge, the messaging again on the Democratic Party, your messaging has to be better when it comes to strategy. You have to do better. Here's another soundbite I want to play for you. This is from Chris Cuomo of News Nation. This is what he had to say in regards to the how the Democrats will react. A Democratic Party will be responding and reacting to this victory for Donald Trump.
The answer to the question you raised, which is a very good one, and it's probably going to be ignored by most folks tonight. The answer to the question, what do the Democrats do? Nothing. Right now, they do nothing. They acknowledge the victory when they believe they need to. It will be in short order. And then they have to see how Donald Trump plays the situation. They will be reactive. They're going to be in a little bit of shock. Yeah. They're going to be reactive in the beginning. One, I'm not talking about the next couple of weeks. I'm talking about after the inauguration. They will be reactive. If they have the House, it's going to be a very small majority, right? Hakeem Jeffries, I've known a very long.
So that was from Chris Cuomo, who has a I would consider him center left. He plays this fair reporter and journalist, which he is. He's the son of a Democratic governor. He's the brother of a former Democratic governor. Democratic runs in his family. But he's but I said, very fair individual. Here is a statement, by the way, of what Liz Cheney had to say about this. Let me read this. Okay, it says here, our nation's democratic system functioned last night, and we have a new president-elect. All Americans are bound, whether we like the outcome or not, to accept the results of our elections. We now have a special responsibility as citizens of the greatest nation on earth to do everything we can to support and defend our Constitution, preserve the rule of law, and ensure the institutions hold over these coming 4 years. Citizens across the country, our courts, members of the press, and those serving in our federal, state, and local governments must now be uh, guardrails of democracy. That was former Republican Congresswoman out of Wyoming, Liz Cheney, daughter of the former Vice President Dick Cheney. Wanted to read you guys some other than just this presidential race. I want to read you some local races that I would like to share with you all. I want to shout out my good friends and friend to the show, Mr. Les Smith. He came victorious on election night, winning a seat on Chesapeake's City Council, my hometown of Chesapeake City Council. It was a very, very, very big race. You had 3 seats open, 8 candidates running for 3 seats. You hear me? So congratulations to Les Smith. I will be speaking with him. He will be coming on the show very soon. And speak with what's next for the city of Chesapeake and what he has in store for them. Also, my good friend Carlos Clanton. He's a friend of the show as well. He was running for Norfolk City Council Super Ward 7. He came victorious. He is now Councilman Carlos Clanton. So I want to congratulate you, my friend. And also, let me bring him on. Sarah McBride becomes the first openly transgender person elected into U.S. Congress. Delaware State Senator, prior to winning this congressional seat, making history. And so want to congratulate her on that victory. Let's see here. Here we go. Virginia U.S. Senator Tim Kaine wins re-election for his seat. He had a great stint on SNL. I don't know if you checked it out. It was pretty funny. Democratic Representative Maxwell Frost re-elected in the state of Florida. Democrat Angela Brooks becomes Maryland's first black senator, U.S. senator. So congratulations to her. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she secures a re-election in her congressional seat, Georgia's 14th congressional district. Let's see, Bernie Moreno, he wins the Ohio Senate seat, which is a huge win for Republicans. Democratic Josh Stein defeats Mark Robinson in North Carolina governor's race. Man, Lord have mercy. Because that joker was a piece of work. Here back in Hampton Roads, in the Hampton Roads, Virginia area, Portsmouth Mayor Shannon Glover, he wins his re-election. He was up against a very person I thought had it in the bag, Vice Mayor Lisa Lucas Burke. She's the daughter of Senator Louise Lucas, who is probably the second most powerful woman powerful woman in the state of Virginia, behind Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. Fani Willis, the Georgia prosecutor pursuing election interference case against Donald Trump, she wins her reelection. Lisa Blunt Rochester makes history as Delaware's first female and black U.S. senator. Democrat Bobby Scott wins reelection for Virginia's 3rd congressional district. Lauren Boebert, the lady likes to get a little handsy. She wins her congressional race in the new Colorado district. Lucy Macbeth wins congressional seat District 7 in Georgia. New Jersey, they just elected their first Korean American. Democrat Andy Kim was elected in the U.S. Senate. That was a seat, I believe, originally was held by Senator Menendez, who was involved in the whole corruption scandal. Democrat Jennifer McClellan wins a congressional seat in Virginia's 4th congressional district. Ted Cruz out of Texas, he wins re-election for U.S. Senator. And then also, here's some big news. Monroe Nichols becomes the first black mayor of Tulsa. The GOP wins, takes over the Senate, the House Senate. I believe they won about 50 seats in order to win the majority of the Senate. The Democrats will probably win a small majority of the of Congress. Let's see here. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wins her reelection. Which, hey, she's been up there for a minute. And yeah, so those are some of your local races. Also, the CEO of Hollywood Unlocked, Jason Lee, has been elected to the people of Stockton, the city councilman in the state of California. So congratulations to him as well. Now, coming back to this presidential race, my friends, I want to pull up a stat sheet. Let me see if I can get it from here, and I'll read that to you guys. And for those who are watching, you can check it out from if you're streaming this episode at the moment. Let me go ahead and pull this up for you all. There we go. All right. So here is a breakdown on how each demographic voted. Okay. Sex by race. White men, 39% for Kamala Harris, 59% for Donald Trump. No shocker right there. White women, 47% for Kamala Harris, 52% for Donald Trump. Black men, 78% for Kamala Harris, 20% for black men. A slight increase compared from the last election. Black women, 92% for Kamala Harris, 7% for Donald Trump. Latino men was 44% for Kamala Harris, 54% for Donald Trump. So even the whole Puerto Rico floating pile of garbage, that did not affect the Latino male vote for Donald Trump. He still achieved and secured that vote. Even after Nicky Jam, the famous musician, award-winning producer and musician, he pulled away his endorsement from Donald Trump. Guess what? It did not help. Latino women, 61% for Kamala Harris, 37% for Donald Trump. And it's interesting because the women team Kamala, the men team Donald Trump. Interesting. All other races, 50% for Kamala, 45% for Donald Trump. That's interesting in my opinion. That is quite interesting. Some more of the breakdown. Here's what MSNBC host Joy Reid had to say in response to the final verdict of this race, and spoke about white women basically not being there for Kamala Harris. Talk to you on the other side.
If they didn't make their numbers and essentially exceed the numbers that Joe Biden had in the suburbs. And I think we have to be blunt about why. Black voters came through for Kamala Harris. White women voters did not. That is what it appears happened in that state, is that if you can't flip enough white women, and we've talked about this on this set numerous times, is that you have a state where you've got a 6-week abortion or a 12-week abortion. I think theirs might be 12 weeks.
Yep.
But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights, where there was a very heavy push to get women to focus on not putting in place, re-electing, putting back into the White House the person who was responsible for taking those rights away and restoring them. But that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. And, God bless Shannon Watts, who has tried to have that conversation. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing.
Stuff. People didn't have any surprise
if they didn't.
So that's what she had to say. She was saying, hey, white women were not there for Kamala Harris. Again, it just showed that women's reproductive rights, a lot of people assume that was a big thing and that will help win an election. It wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. I mean, let's see what more I can break down here. Let's see. Let's speak more on these what's next as far as for the cases brought against former, now newly elected President Donald Trump. So here's a few sound bites from legal analyst Dan Abrams, ABC chief legal analyst Dan Abrams. Just before I'll show you a image and I'll talk a little more about that.
The next president, Dan Abrams, does Jack Smith go away? Does the federal prosecution goes right away?
Absolutely. Jack Smith's going to get fired, done. Those prosecutions are over. The more interesting question is going to be the two local prosecutions, right? The one in New York, where he's already been convicted, there's a sentencing scheduled for the end of November. Think about that. The president-elect would be sentenced for a New York State crime at the end of November. It is hard to imagine a judge even considering at that point jail time. The Georgia case would at the very least get delayed until 2029, if disappear altogether. Just one other point on the Supreme Court, which is, remember, this is why the Senate becomes so important. And it's a follow-up a little bit on something that Chris Christie said earlier. The more you get in terms of the majority in the Senate, the more autonomy that Donald Trump is going to have in who he picks, right? I mean, he might pick someone who some Republicans even have concerns about. But if you don't have enough Republicans to object to that, he's really going to be able to pick anyone that he wants. So the Senate becomes very important with regard to what happens with the Supreme Court moving forward.
All right. And if he's declared the next president, Dan Abrams, does Jack Smith go away?
So again, what's next with these cases, right? Donald Trump, 34 felony counts, 1 conviction, 2 cases pending, 2-time impeachment, 6 bankruptcies, and guess what? He has 4 more years. like, I mean, the man just made the biggest comeback of the year. Seriously, the biggest comeback of the year. He was it was 3 assassination attempts brought on his life that he survived. He's beaten the court systems. He's obviously he's beat 2 people running for president, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. He has beat the system. He has. Like, what is there else to say? Is no, I mean, don't boo about it. Don't say he cheated. He didn't cheat. He won fair and square. It's sad to, I feel like it's sad for women because again, another highly qualified individual loses to somebody that's very underqualified. It's just it sucks. It really does. I will say this too. I want to call some folks out. I'm a huge fan of Dr. Cornel West. Have nothing but respect for him. A very intelligent, educated individual, but he was a spoiler. He really he was a spoiler in this race. Dr. Cornel West was speaking on stuff that he spoke on for years. Stuff that he could still speak to the community as an activist. The whole thing he was saying with this campaign is I just wanted to have an impact, right? I wanted to make some noise. I wanted to bring attention to an issue. You've always been doing that, sir. Why would you do that by running a presidential race? I'm sorry. To me, you were a part of the problem. You stayed in a race knowing damn well you were not going to win, and you were a spoiler, sir. Jill Stein, you were a spoiler, okay? You were. Now, I had the opportunity to interview Chase Oliver, Libertarian nominee. He was on the ballot in 47 states out of 50. So, look, 47 states out of 50, your chances on possibly winning, you got a strong. You could. It'll be a far stretch, but still, I understand why you stayed in the race. Cornell, I don't know why. I don't know why. And in my opinion, you really messed up. You messed it up for, just by messing up the numbers. You still had a lot of undecided voters out there that really wasn't gravitating too much on either candidate. So they considered you as president of the United States. Again, a wasted vote. But that's where my frustration comes with the Democratic Party, because when it comes to strategy, where did you fail in that aspect, right? You constantly said, well, look, this is why Donald Trump is bad. He's bad, this and that and the other, but you didn't speak on your accomplishments. At least I'll give Trump credit. He always says, we did this, we did that. Even though some of the stuff he's saying might not even be true. His base believes it. And people that are don't have the proper knowledge when it comes to office and really reading the prime information, they're visual. They're gonna listen whatever the candidate says. Oh, he did that. Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, it's sad, but it's the truth. I'm thinking of more issues that have failed in this race. Media criticism of Trump supporters, right? Did that help or hurt the Harris campaign? Did it help or hurt the Biden campaign? I mean, excuse me, the Trump campaign. I do believe that there were most people who voted for Trump. Guess what? Didn't like Trump, but they were in for the policies. That's why Democrats need to speak on more of their accomplishments and what they're going to be doing rather than talking points. I mentioned earlier the abortion issue ended up not being the prime thing on the ballot. I mean, it was, but it didn't win the election. Now, here's another thing I put down on my notes. Do you think she should have picked Josh Shapiro, governor of Pennsylvania, because she ended up losing Pennsylvania? She didn't win Pennsylvania in the election. Do you think she should have picked him as the VP pick rather than Tim Walz out of Minnesota? So actually, Ah, mm, mm, mm. Here's my thing. I don't think the country will come together after this election. I think it will get more divided because me personally, when Trump was first elected into office, he brought division to the community, to the world, not unity. He brought division. A lot of people lost friendships, not talking with their family and relatives in regards to this election. And I myself, I mean, I'm fortunate. I agree, disagree with people, and so it never really affected me like that. Like I can't talk to you. I can't. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people, you it's all about the reason why you supported him. If you're just a flat on kissing the ring, you adore Trump, it's a little bit weird in my opinion. It's a bit weird. But if you have a specific reason, for certain policies, look, agree or disagree. Agree or disagree. Here are some more sound bites in regards to those cases. Let me see here. Okay, here's another soundbite from ABC News. ABC News Aaron Katersky as well as Dan Abrams. Let me find that soundbite for you.
The court cases against Donald Trump, 4 ongoing criminal cases involving dozens of charges, also 3 civil cases. Senior correspondent Aaron Katersky has been tracking them all. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, George. Reclaiming the presidency, maybe Donald Trump's get out of jail free card. Trump has said he would fire special counsel Jack Smith within 2 seconds, erasing the 2 federal prosecutions he's brought, one over subverting the 2020 election, the other for retaining classified documents. Now, Smith could try to turn over the January 6th case to career prosecutors, maybe issue a report about his findings, but Trump, in all likelihood, would face no legal consequences. The classified documents case has already been dismissed. Now the special counsel's appeal to reinstate it would likely be withdrawn. Trump's criminal case in Georgia produced this iconic image of the campaign, his mugshot. Any trial now would have to wait until 2029. And Trump is scheduled to be sentenced here in New York later this month for falsifying business records. Even if that goes forward, it's hard to see how he faces any meaningful sentence now. And George, an appeals court in New York is considering whether Trump must pay a civil fraud judgment. So it's possible George Trump will begin his presidency owing nearly $500 million. Guys.
Okay, Aaron, thanks very much, Michael.
All right, we're going to have more now from our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams, who is here with us this morning. Dan, if we just heard President-elect Trump convicted in hush money case, scheduled to be sentenced on November 26th.
And
what happens now?
Well, remember, his lawyers have been pushing to delay this, and it seems that was a pretty smart decision because now you don't just have a criminal defendant, you have a president-elect who is going to be sentenced. And I do not see any way that this judge now sentences him to any kind of meaningful time. I don't see how he gives him any jail time at all. And one other point on Jack Smith, which is I would expect that Jack Smith is probably going to resign before he lets Donald Trump actually fire him.
And we were alluding.
So again, that's in regards to the case. So it looks like Trump's a free man, my friends. It looks like he is a free man. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, he's just running to prevent himself from going to jail." Probably was, and guess what? He accomplished that. He's probably going to help get his friends out of jail as well. Rudy Giuliani's facing some court cases. Steve Bannon and all of his conspiracy theorist friends. That's another reason why I can't get on the Trump train, man. A lot of people that support him, a lot of people that he thinks that are great people, good people, intelligent people, they're really not good people. They're bad people. They're people that personally attack others in certain groups and minority groups. They're people that attack people's appearance. You know what I mean? Like it's very insulting. I'm not for the bullying. And so I don't think this would be a good inspiration for your children to say, like, hey, look, if you be more like this guy, you can achieve so much. Hey, don't worry if you break the law. Hey, look, this guy's a convicted felon. He's elected. Come on. Like it's a lot, man. It really is a lot. But as I mentioned before, y'all, we will continue to dive deep and talk more about the upcoming, just breaking down the election. I'm excited because I'll be talking with my good friend Dr. Eric Lavelle. I'm going to have some local candidates on that's won their elections, or won their races, and I'm very I'm curious to see how this goes from now. Personally, again, I can say many times, hey, I'm disappointed with the outcome, but hey, he won. It's done. Y'all have to, you have to get over it. Keep it in prayer. Just pray. Pray for our our president now, because he is an elected official. He is going to be the 47th president of the United States. I hope for safety for him and his family. Because again, it was a tax that was brought against his life during the campaign cycle. I hope he humbles up. I doubt it that he will. I doubt it that he will change any of his ways, especially at his age. The older you get, sometimes the more grouchier you get. I don't think he's going to get any better. But at the end of the day, changes will be met. We're going to see, it looks like we're going to see RFK Jr. in the White House. We're going to see Tulsi Gabbard in the White House, former Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii turned Republican. We're going to see a lot of folks in the White House that a lot of people are going to be like, wow, they should not have access to, a lot of confidential things in that White House. Wow, it's going to be weird. This is a sidebar. When he came out for his victory speech, when Donald Trump came out for his victory speech, his youngest son is a tower, by the way. I don't know his name, but he is a tower. He was literally like the tallest person on stage. I was like, holy what? Like, where he's getting this hype from? But yeah, it's that's that, my friends. Disappointing the Democratic Party. I don't know where they're going going now from here. I think it's slowly but surely going to be crumbling. This is the worst loss for them. It really is. It really is, and I'm just very frustrated with how the strategy was throughout this whole election cycle. I really am. I think, I think they should have had a primary, a proper primary, but it's just the timing sucked. But again, now because they had in my opinion, a very I don't want to call the man ignorant, but it should have been better planning. It really should have been better planning. Having making that decision so close to the DNC, and then just, I mean, they only had but one debate, which, I mean, I don't think they were going to have any more debates, because Kamala swept the floor with Donald Trump in the debate, on the debate stage. So I don't think they were going to have any more debates, but I don't know, brother. I don't know out there. I don't know people out there, man. It's just it I wish it was just better planning. That's all I will keep it at. I wish it was better planning. But hey, once I have these conversations with with Dr. Eric Lavelle, maybe he has another take on what could have been dealt better, and honestly, what worked for the Republican Party. What worked for them? Because it wasn't his endorsements. I will say that it wasn't his endorsement. Now, Joe Rogan was a big endorsement that happened very last minute. Elon Musk, another big endorsement, because I mean, Elon Musk is by far the wealthiest man in the world, possibly becoming the first ever trillionaire is what I read. Those are two big names for the Trump campaign. And so we will continue to follow up more with this. We will see what will be next. Again, a lot of people are saying, hey, look, I got my passport, I'm getting out of here. This and that and the other. I doubt that they're really leaving. I really am. Because they said that the last go around when he became president. I think it's a figure of speech, but I think people are very, very very disappointed, very sad of the outcome. A lot of people thought we were going to be witnessing history on seeing the first ever women president. What's going to be next for Vice President Kamala Harris? Will she still be involved in politics as an elected official, or will she retire and partake in something else? Because for Hillary Clinton, I mean, after she lost from Donald Trump, she wrote a book, spoke at did speaking engagements. That was it. Helped others, help campaign with other candidates. That was it. But but she is again. It's not looking pretty. It's not looking pretty whatsoever. Um, for again, I'm gonna say the Democratic Party as well as for Kamala Harris. I'm curious to see what's gonna be next for her. She fought a hard fought race for the short time that she had, but again, Donald Trump never stopped campaigning. Donald Trump did not stop campaigning. He kept a hold on that base. A lot of people put him as the face of being treated unfairly, even those who are not even Republicans. They just said, "Oh man, I think the system is against him, and this and that and the other," and just like give the man a break, this and that and the other. So he has a support system that is weird, but they look at him as like, "Oh, he's getting mistreated," and all the court cases is politically motivated, and and that base stretches, man, and also too. There were a lot of write-in votes. A lot of people did not vote this election cycle. They didn't choose a couch, but they chose to write in on the presidential race. Even on some of the local races that I'm looking at my phone right now. There was like over 700 write-ins in one of our local races here in my home city. I'm just like, wow. Like, is this like a game to you all? Y'all just want to, you know, say you voted and you probably put in Papa Smurf on the write-in, and then let me go to a election watch party and enjoy myself. And then there was a lot of people that said they might have said, hey, look, I'll vote for this one, and probably changed their mind immediately once they got at the ballot. Like, that happens. um it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I'm trying to I'm trying to continue to think on some more. Where did the elections, where did this come from? Because I really thought it was going to be a lot closer than what it was. It was not close whatsoever. I mean, it started off with 8 electoral votes, 3 for Kamala. It was never a close knit ball game at all. So I'm just like, wow, this is tough. This is tough. And yeah, we will continue to follow up more here on the Arington Gavin Show, my friends. Thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedule for joining for another great conversation, just hearing me vent. We'll have some great conversations coming forth with you, and towards the holiday season, because now that the election over, look, it's time for Christmas, y'all. It's time to do the Christmas shopping. It's time for Thanksgiving as well. It's so much stuff that are going to be in store for you all here on the Arington Gavin Show. So do me a favor, continue to support the program, follow us, subscribe, share with a friend, tune into new episodes Monday through Fridays at 11 p.m. on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. Take care, my friends. God bless. I will talk to you all next time. I just hit the wrong button, y'all. Hold on. Now we're out.